I'm right here. Stern. And these rise for a pledge.
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Minutes of the October 20th session meeting. Moved by Mrs. Jones, second by Mrs. Gleason. Any discussion? No discussion.
Mrs. Jones? Aye. Mrs. Gleason? Aye. Mr. Kennedy?
I'll abstain since I was absent.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Cameron? Aye. Mrs. Ressler?
Aye.
Ms. Stearns?
Aye. Motion passes. Our board recognition award.
Good evening. For our board volunteer remarks, we are recognizing Mr. Mitch Johnson, who is the founder of the Wayne Cook Foundation. If I can ask Mr. Johnson to come up. And I'd also like to ask Mr. Justin Edgecombe to stand here. Justin, do you have any girls from cross-country track? Would you guys all stand? If you're on the track team, cross-country team, would you please stand? All right. Mr. Johnson is the founder of the Wingfoot Foundation. He's being honored tonight as the volunteer of the month. The Wingfoot Foundation is a 501c3 charity organization that assists student athletes in need of athletic equipment. The organization is also known for promoting higher education and athletic events. The foundation's goal is to assist student athletes in the Chicago area by offering athletic equipment and academic programs to help strengthen the educational and sports activities in their communities. The foundation has been in operation since 2004. In the Wingfoot Foundation logo, which you see on the screen, the Wingfoot represents the sport of track and field. The triangles represent the pillars of strength, which is faith, family, and friends. The Wingfoot Foundation is currently assisting the boys and girls track and cross-country teams for 50 high schools, 17 junior high schools, and 3 clubs. Hillcrest is fortunate to be one of those high schools. Mr. Johnson has been sponsoring our boys and girls cross-country and track and field programs for several years. He has stated when I talked to him that we believe the lessons learned in the classroom and in athletic competition are beneficial to the development of young people. Knowing that the shoes and the equipment can be so expensive, it's great for us to be able to help out. The foundation received some of its items from retailers such as Geneva Outfitters, Naperville Running Company, The Runner's Soul, as well as directly from shoe manufacturers. When asked how the foundation's contributions have impacted our girls cross-country and track programs at Hillcrest, Coach Braden stated, our student athletes have been very fortunate. With the support of training shoes, competitive spikes, athletic gear, and clothing, our cross-country team has flourished. Mr. Johnson was recently honored at the Illinois Track and Cross Country Coaches Association's 34th Annual Hall of Fame banquet, where he received recognition for service to Chicagoland's high school track and cross-country programs. The Wingfoot Foundation is based in Naperville. However, their generosity reaches across Illinois and Indiana. And I say that we are very thankful to be recipients of your generous support. And these students that are here, some of them have benefited from the Wingfoot Foundation. We thank you.
Thank you.
The Board of Education presents this award to Mitch Johnston. You have helped to provide a positive learning environment for the students of District 228 by the time and talents you share. Thank you for caring.
Thank you. All right, hold your plaque up high. Yay. Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay.
I'm here today. And simply because I just wanted to celebrate our students. So today I'm just going to spend some time talking about all the wonderful things that our students have done at Hillcrest, the things that we are proud of, celebrating and acknowledging the students that make Hillcrest great. And so we have quite a few groups of students that we are going to acknowledge and celebrate today. So I'm going to start with our students that are AP Advanced Placement Scholars. So unfortunately, I don't have a microphone, so hopefully you guys can hear me. When I call your name, please come up so that you can be acknowledged. Thank you. So AP students are scholars, students that have taken advanced placement classes, and they take a test at the end of the term, generally in May. And those students that score a 3 or higher are considered AP scholars. They can take the credit from that AP exam and use that toward college credit. Some schools accept it as electives and some take it for the content course. But in the ultimate end, it is courses that challenge our students to their highest. It is helpful for parents because, of course, you save money in college when they're taking AP classes, and if they pass, they, of course, get the credit for it in college, and so that's one less class you have to pay for when they go on to post-secondary education. So we had quite a few students. I'm going to first mention the students that graduated last year that were AP scholars who did very well. Kim Chi Dang, Karina Ingram, Constance McCullough, Samaj Robinson, Marvin Slaughter, Simone Bernardo, and Kendra Warfield. Now, these were graduated students that went out in 2015. And one of those students, Kim Chi Dang, actually took 4 AP exams and passed all of them with a 3 or higher. So let's first get them up. And we have a couple of current seniors that are here. And as I call your name, if you're here, please come up to the front. Christina Jones, Ariana McIntyre, Jael Taylor, Sophia Wright. We also have some sophomores who took the AP exam. Ariola Ayo, Jared Canino, and Timian Oyeyemi. Jael last year took 3 AP exams and passed them all with a 3 or higher. And this year, he is in 4 AP classes. So I know his parents are very proud of him. He took the class, his first AP class freshman year as well. So, you got halfway through college. Please, let's give them all a round of applause. What being a scholar is all about. You make us proud. Thank you. Congratulations. Our next group of students are what we call ACT scholars. These students have attained a score of 20 plus of composite on the ACT exam. Now, you know we did away with PSA through the state, but ACT is still that standardized test that a lot of the colleges use for college admission. And so as principals, we talked about we wanted to still provide honor to those students who worked very hard and tried academically. And so these students are being recognized for being ACT scholars. Let me display their names. Yeah. Isn't that nice? So as I call your name, please come up so you can be recognized. And please forgive me, charge it to my mouth and my head, not my heart, if I mispronounce the name. Ya Asante, Enola Arioni, Delvante Brain, Devonna Bridges, Jonathan Buford, Heaven Creator, Talonda Davis, Sharice Dawkins, Ernesia Divine, Jasmine Dillard, Jabari Dixon, Isaiah Dunbar, Terry Easter, Shane Green, Isaac Hollis, Crystal Hurst, Ariana James, Kanochi Joyner, Christine Jones, Sheena Jones, Juan Leek, Raja Matthews, Ariana McIntyre, Kevin Moore, Nathaniel Perry, Monique Riaz, Jada Roberts, Alexa Simmons, Aldarian Smith, Trayvon Sykes, Barbara Taylor, Jael Taylor, Jareel Thomas, Jennifer Wallace, Savannah Wooten, Sophia Wright, and Moriam Yarrow. Please let's give them a round of applause. Again, you guys exemplified what Hawk Hood is all about. Thank you. They want y'all to come a little closer together so they can get a picture.
So I can do a second reference.
Last year, we started a program we implemented called Student of the Month. And with that program, we wanted the teachers and other staff to get involved in recognizing students that, as administrators, we may not always see the great things that they do on a daily basis. And so, as department members, we asked them to come together to nominate a student that they believed exemplified a certain criteria. That criteria could have been character or attitude or disposition that they displayed that has been representative of what being a Hawk is all about. Their improvement in terms of class attendance, their improvement in terms of class participation, they're showing leadership and responsibility, of course demonstrating academic progress, good work ethic, and or great discipline or no conduct issues in classes. And so each month we recognize students from every department. Those students then have a photo taken, and that photo is displayed in the front foyer. So we're proud and pleased to announce that we had representatives from September and October that we awarded. And so I'm going to call their names and let them be recognized as well for their contributions to the school. For the month of September, Michael Cully from the Science Department, Natalie Williams from the Business Department, Ariana James from Math, Kanochi Joyner from Fine Arts, James Lipscomb from Physical Education, Brian Lacey from Family and Consumer Science, Taylor Miller from English, Jalen Moore from Social Studies, Aaron Smith, World Language, and Tomi Odebar, and I don't know if Tomi's here, but I can never say her first name, from English. For October, we had Joshua Bryant for Social Studies, Jalaya Talavera for Business, Shelvencio Diego for Science, Jakia Elb from Physical Education, Justin Akioti, Fine Arts, Jael Taylor, Math, Isaac Hollis, Family and Consumer Science, Crystal Wright, World Language, Deja Harrell, Math, and Sarah Phillips for Science. Let's give them all a round of applause. Our next group of students that we are pleased to present are the National Honor Society inductees for the class of 2015. Henry David Thoreau once said, and I paraphrase, "Man will generally reach for that which he aims, therefore aim high." Our National Honor Society students aim high. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Tate to come up, Ms. Cordina Tate, who is a sponsor. First of all, I want to give thanks to her as a sponsor. And then we're going to call the 24 inductees. And I just wanted Ms. Tate, because the students often complain about the number of service hours. I just wanted her to talk a little bit about one of the pillars, which is service for National Honor Society. Our students go above and beyond in terms of service, and I just wanted her to explain just very briefly what our students do for service for NHS.
Good evening. Hillcrest students, National Honor Society students, are the only school in the south suburbs that are required by me to complete more than 250 hours of service. Most of the students do way beyond that. And the reason being is because that is our main goal. Our focus is to help others and to be of service to others. And that is basically what we do. We do service projects just about every week. The students do their own, they create and they carry out their own individual service project in which they usually earn about 150 hours. And so they plan from beginning to end this entire project that is going to be a benefit to the community. And with that project, we submit the project to National Honor Society, and students are actually put into a drawing for $20,000 scholarships.
We wish you all luck. Inductees, as I call you, please come forward. Nathaniel R., Arminda Keiko, Courtney Collier, Arnesia Devine, Olivia Douglas, Kyra East, Angela Guyton, Brandon Harper, Latrell Harper, Diamond Jenkins, Brittany Jenkins, Dylan Jernigan, Karima Jones, Jared Kennebrew Campbell, Carly Koss, Juan Leek, Ashley Moore, David Moore, Mariah Price, Ania Ricks, Kia Vega Allen, Armani White, Taylor Winbush, and Darlene York. If there are officers here that are part of NHS, would you please come forward as well? That would be Jada Roberts, Terry Easter, Talonda Davis, Savannah Wooten, and Kevin Moore. You are here. Please come over and be recognized as well. Please give them a round of applause. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Braden. I'm sorry. I got Dave on my mind because he's ill.
What are you doing? Are you okay?
Math leads are going to be recognized. There's so many of them, I couldn't even put their name on one slide. So, we have a team of mathletes this year. We probably have about 70 students that got involved in mathletes over the years. Mr. Ballista and Mr. Fantozzi have built a program up for us where our students have really put Hillcrest on the map in terms of mathletes. There was a point in time when we weren't looked at as real competition. Well, this year, for the first time, I think in the history of the school, we won a team competition, and that speaks volumes. What mathletes are all about. If you're a mathlete, come on over.
Mathlete, if you can come up real quick. One thing I want to say, I'm very proud of the 73 kids that we have involved in Mathletes. We've been in some good competitions where we've beaten some of the other district schools, including Tinley Park and Bremen, which is kind of fun. We also have participated in regionals for the last couple years, and we're going to continue doing that. Now we're adding on one more competition to be at Lamont this year. So we're going to add some things and have some fun. It is nice having this many people where you have to take 2 buses to competitions.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So that was some academic stuff. Now I'm gonna engage me for a couple more minutes. We want to honor a few students that were selected as all-conference athletes. All right, so first of all, I want to call Jalea Cole Clark. These students were acknowledged for being selected as all-conference athletes in the South Suburban Blue Division for our fall season. Jalea Cole Clark for volleyball. James Lipscomb for football. Come on up. Jordan Moore, football. Amari Smith, football. Azenia Semadou, football. And Marcus Garrett for football. Congratulations to you guys. Thank you very much. Lastly, I want to acknowledge our head football coach, Coach Marquise Cole, and his staff, and our entire football program. So if there are any football members, don't leave, because I want you guys to come up here as well. This season, if there's any football players and our coaches, please come on up. This season, we had a much more successful season than we have had in previous years. And we contribute that in part to enthusiastic and committed athletes and good coaching. Coach Cole was nominated for and won the Coach of the Year by the South Suburban Conference. This is an awesome honor for a first-year coach that's new to the conference. Now, in addition to that, the entire football team won the Sportsmanship Award from the South Suburban Conference. Testament to the coaching staff, to the expectations they set for the team, and to the players for executing and adhering to those standards on and off the field. All of the young men that are football members served as role models this school year. They got to class on time, they participated in class, they followed rules, they followed procedures, and if they didn't, then they were dealt with on the field, which made them change. So they have become much more responsible young men, and again, good leaders and role models for the rest of the students. Our football team finished with the following record this year. Our freshmen, 8 wins, only 1 loss. Wow. Our sophomore team, 7 wins, only 2 losses. Our varsity boys, 4 wins, 5 losses. Although the varsity team did not make it to the playoffs, we certainly look forward to their continued growth and future wins. The turnaround in this football program has had a tremendous impact on our school, climate, and our culture. So we say thank you. Now, in addition, I received a notification that Hillcrest High School is going to be inducted into the National Football League Super Bowl High School Honor Roll. Schools that have contributed to Super Bowl history. The platform for that links the past 49 Super Bowls, and this is the NFL, the real deal. This platform links The past 49 Super Bowls with this year's game and honors high schools and communities that have positively impacted the game of football. As such, we will receive a commemorative Golden Football produced by Wilson for a player who's graduated from our high school and was on an active Super Bowl roster. Obviously, we are receiving that honor because Marquise Cole graduated from Hillcrest and he was an active player on the Super Bowl team. A Golden NFL Football will be presented to our school. What an honor. In addition to this football, which we will proudly display in our case up front, in the front of the school, we will also receive the NFL Character Education Curriculum sometime during this season. And we are also eligible to apply for a grant for up to $5,000 from the NFL Foundation, which will help support and grow our high school football program. This was an exciting way to end our football season. Thank you, Coach Cole. Thank you to all of the other coaches. And thank you, of course, to all of our players. Go Hawks. Thank you for your patience. And I think we have the news reports to follow.
Before you guys start to leave, I just want to say we also appreciate and understand the kids are getting recognized, but they wouldn't be here unless you were here and supported them and pushed them and kept them on track. So thank you.
So we have our good news reports. Danielle Jensen is here for Hillcrest to talk about her work with the Pediatric Oncology Foundation. Danielle's been working on a project and she's going to tell you a little bit about her experience with that.
Hello. My name is Danielle Jensen. I'm a senior at Hillcrest. I'm also in the NHS and Interact Club. What I'm here to talk to you about today is the Pediatric Oncology Treasure Chest Foundation. And what they do, they deliver toys to children who go through chemo treatment, cancer patients. And the problem I noticed that they have is getting items for teens. Because you know items for teens are more expensive and they want video games and Best Buy cards and stuff like that. So I was having a teen drive for teenagers. And how I started working at the Pediatric Treasure Chest Foundation is I contacted Yolobi, which is a teen networking program, and I started working with them over the summer. What I do is I create baskets that they sell to fundraise, and we fundraised over $21,000 at the last gala, and I was like very proud to be a part of that. That's like probably the greatest thing I've ever done in my life so far, and it made me really happy to help children. There was a little girl at the gala, she was an honorary. She went through leukemia, she was about 5, which is like my little sister age, she's 4. And I have a picture, they became best friends. And it was just very hard for me to imagine that someone my sister age could go through something like that. But I kind of empathize for the teenagers more because I am a teen, and to be in the hospital alone and lonely, you know, you don't get that too many visits. So that's why I wanted to have a teen drive for my NHS project. I've been going around talking to the teachers and administrators, and Dr. Young, he's been helping me a lot. And I just wanted to ask if you guys could help me out, bring items. There's a list of items you can bring on the back of the sheet. Thank you for your time. I just want to let you know about what I'm doing. You can drop off the items at the administration office. There will be a box there. And in the main office, there is a box to collect items, preferably brand new items or gently used items. I've been talking to some teachers and they're all willing to give extra credit to students if they bring in items. It would be really helpful if you help me out. Thank you.
Last thing that I want to mention, I'm trying to get this, just had so much stuff to say and do before we get out of here. Education is a lifelong process. And I just wanted to say I try to serve as a role model for the students that we have before us. And I'm proud to say, actually, both Dan and I will be graduating with our doctorate degrees December 19th.
Good news report. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I have Lenny File here today. He's a junior at Bremen High School. He's going to tell you a little bit about himself and some of the good news at Bremen High School.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm Lenny File. I'm a junior at Bremen High School. I'm involved in the chess team. I'm part of the band, the drama club. We just had a pretty great showing of the play Game of Ciaras. I was a king. It's pretty cool. But yeah, this is a couple things that have been going on at Bremen that I think are pretty cool. So Bremen High School is proud to announce that its National Honor Society inducted 79 new members on Tuesday, November 10th at Bremen High School. This is an increase of at least 30 members since 2013. Not only are NHS members recognized for their academic and community accomplishments, but students are challenged to develop further through involvement in school activities and community service. Bremen recognizes nearly 100 students who achieved ACT Scholar status by scoring a composite of 20 plus on the ACT. As part of the incentive, these students are exempt from taking their finals, so that's great. Congratulations to the Bremen High School's Key Club for receiving a check for $3,500 from LifeSource Blood Company. The Braves Key Club has run over 20 successful blood drives, saving thousands of lives throughout the years. To date, BHS Key Club has donated over $13,000 to various community causes and scholarships. This year, over 200 Bremen students donated blood to help save others. BHS Key Club President Brooke Prosciutto and Dr. Kabelkas received the check on behalf of Bremen High School. On October 16, 2015, Bremen High School students had the privilege to hear from two award-winning co-authors, Jason Reynolds and Brendan Keeley, regarding the concept behind their new top-selling book, All American Boys. The authors were welcomed by select English classes. Reynolds and Keeley talked about many important subjects in the book, police brutality and racism. Students were able to ask questions to further their understanding on these contemporary social issues. And now on to athletics. Congratulations to Mariah Lopez from cross country for placing in the top 110 of the IHSA State Cross Country Meet in Peoria on Saturday, November 7th. Congratulations to the Bremen boys soccer team for winning the IHSA Soccer Regional at Oak Forest High School. The season ended with a tough loss in the IHSA sectional semifinal. Ricardo Avalos was named SSC Conference Player of the Year. The fall SSC Conference players include, for football, Cody Esparza, Delonte Scott, Javon Gray. Soccer, Sam Gruzius, Ricardo Avalos, George Villanueva, Christian Lopez, and Fabian Lopez. For volleyball, Deborah Martinez. For girls cross country is Mariah Lopez. And for boys cross country is Suhab Fruk, Javier Cemental, and Elijah Treya. Thank you guys.
You might remember last month that my student was still competing on the volleyball court, so I'm happy to have Emily Ellis represent the Oak Forest Bengals. She's a great student and ambassador for Oak Forest. She's here to talk a little about her involvement in entertainment and sports marketing class.
Hello. Hi. Good evening. My name is Emily Ellis. Thank you for having me here this evening. I'd like to highlight current projects for our sports and entertainment marketing class. The class focuses on communicating with businesses and recruiting sponsorships. Class projects include different areas of marketing and distribution. At the beginning of the school year, we designed a kiosk for Bettenhausen Motors to help them attract new customers. It was so successful that Bettenhausen intends to use our design during the holiday season. This fall, we featured 3 different Dodge Ram trucks in our test drive event. We were able to practice our sales skills by recruiting staff for the event. According to my classmate John Doolin, one of the hardest things to learn was how to convince a person to come to the event. I also think that coming up with incentives plays an important role in getting people to participate. We offered, as part of our incentives, a free lunch, a grand prize of Notre Dame vs. Navy tickets, Notre Dame souvenirs such as hats, camp chairs, basketballs, and/or footballs. This event was a major success, and the companies involved gained sponsorship exposure, an optimal goal for our class. It was exciting for the class and me to see our final product live. We got a lot of publicity at Bettenhausen and Fat Pepper Catering, and in turn, we provided them with a lot of publicity. I am most excited about our last project, because it was an event honoring our whole school. We organized a giant pep rally to commemorate our football victories and to excite our Bengals about football playoffs. We sold tickets and t-shirts to promote the event that was screened live by Bremen District Television. Alex Brown, a former Chicago Bear and Super Bowl champion, helped us host the pep rally. Paid tickets automatically entered fans in a raffle for Bears tickets and other giveaways. All proceeds in the amount of $1,500 were donated to Julia's Legacy of Hope. My future plans are to study broadcast journalism. The class has provided an excellent opportunity to see what goes on behind the scenes. On behalf of Oak Forest High School, I would like to thank the Board of Education for giving me the opportunity to share our good news report.
Good evening. On behalf of Tinley Park High School, I would like to introduce Morgan Schnell and Giovanni Gray. Oh, and a third. And we have a guest.
Yes. Okay.
So,
Hi. Well, I guess I can start. So I'm Morgan Schnell. I guess you're wondering, why is this girl dressed like this? Why does she have a star? Tinley Park High School is actually performing The Diary of Anne Frank this weekend. Our first show is going to be on Thursday at 7 p.m. That is a free show and it is also our understudy show. So if you're interested in that, then we welcome you to that. We also have 4 other productions this weekend. There's one on Friday at 7 p.m., Saturday at 2 and 7 p.m., and then Sunday at 2 p.m. Tickets are going to be $8 for adults and $5 for students under the age of 18. So I encourage you guys to please support your Bremen High School District school and come out and see The Diary of Anne Frank. We have put so much work into this, more than any other show. Alicia here is on crew. She, along with a bunch of other students, built this amazing set that we have never had a greater set than we do now. A few of us also got together. We took a trip down to the Holocaust Museum to kind of get more of a feel and to learn about our characters and what was really going on outside of the history classroom that we're all taught. So we kind of took it upon ourselves to kind of learn more about the history and what was going on to truly make this story a success. We're really trying to portray this show as if Anne's family was sitting in the very front row. So we really would like to see all of your wonderful faces at some point during our show. And this is our lovely t-shirts. They're on sale for $12 if anyone would like to buy one. Yes, Alicia is our model.
So continuing with the rest of the good news report, on Friday, November 6th, Tinley Park High School recently just had their latest International Fest. Over 500 different families and people were attended, where people were immersed into the different cultures of a wide variety of countries.
Yes.
within the world, and it was a really great turnout. People were able to watch performances and enjoy cuisine of native countries.
Yeah.
Thank you. Also, recently, in the end of October, our National Honor Society recently inducted 73 new inductees this year, which is really good. Also, our band members, Alex Quattrini, Herman Mendoza, and Zachary Rosenthal, were accepted into the ILMEA District 1 band this year. And for our athletics, our football team has gone farther in the playoffs since any other team since the 1986 state champions. And so we are really proud of our Titan football players. So thank you.
I'm selfishly just going to take a moment. Many of you, and I'm not even sure if our Tinley Park High School students are aware. Randy Cowenhoven, our associate principal, is battling this around leukemia and will be out for a little while. So we ask for your prayers and well wishes. So thank you.
Well, before Dr. Williams starts, I would just like to say I'm so impressed with the level of professionalism in the kids speaking tonight and their ease with standing in front of us and on camera. It's not always easy. Good job.
Thank you.
If you either want to slide over or you want to move to the front row, it's entirely up to you. Behind you. Our presenters. They're going to give you an overview of what they went over with their teaching staff, and then if you have any questions for them before we go to the next presentation. First off, I have Jennifer Violet and Christine Bonebright. They are counselors at Bremen High School, and their topic was focused on college athletes and how do we motivate them and make sure that they're prepared for the NCAA requirements.
We face inward or outward?
I don't know what's You're definitely well, we're really excited to be here just to give you a brief overview of what we presented to the staff that came to our presentation on the October Institute. As you can see from this evening, how important athletics are to our students and how important they are continuing even past high school. We want to, we're going to click around. I want to show you this slide to start off. This is actually pulled from Career Cruising. So this is the system that we pay to have all of our students use in the district. We start them as freshmen, they continue on through seniors, and we have them explore careers, and we have them, tell us what their interests are, and it matches them to careers. And you can see the #1 career up there is a professional athlete. So that's across the district. 214 students indicate that they'd like to be professional athletes after high school. We also have some related careers like athletic trainer or coach, but you can see that athletics are really important to our students. Unfortunately, the statistics also show us that it's a very competitive world. So although we have 7.4 million student athletes at the high school level, unfortunately only about 460,000 students will actually compete at the NCAA level. So it's only about 6% of our high school athletes make it there. And then unfortunately for those 214 students who want to be professional athletes, only about 2% of those 460,000 athletes will actually ever play at the professional level. So we know it's really competitive. Due to the competitive nature, I'm going to just give you a brief overview. During our presentation, we gave more, we went into more depth about this, but because it's so competitive, the colleges have really tightened up their academic requirements. It's probably much different than when any of you went to college. Maybe you played, sports in college. They want to make sure that the athletes can remain eligible. They want to make sure that the athletes can balance both, school and sports. And so each of the different divisions, whether it's NCAA Division I, II, or III, or it's NAIA, or the National Junior College Association, they all have their own requirements. But just to give you a basic overview, it's pretty much specific core classes, minimum GPAs, and then corresponding ACT scores that they're looking at. And so we gave our teachers and our coaches and our athletic directors just a brief overview because many of them are not even familiar with what those rigorous requirements are. So, how can that help our students? Well, having both been teachers ourselves, we know that teachers can use any extra new tool to motivate students. And so we thought that by educating them about something the students are already interested in, that the teachers could use that in their classroom. Specifically, to build rapport with their students. You know, it's another way to say, hey, you're interested in going to college, what sport are you going to play? Engage in increasing student motivation and connecting the classroom content to the real world. So, if you're interested in being a professional athlete or playing athletics in college, well, did you know that you need to have a certain amount of classes, and I have a class next year that you can use for NCAA eligibility? Or did you know that you have to have a 2.3 GPA? And so, you know, what can we do to help you improve a little bit more on that next test to bring up your GPA so you can be eligible for the goals that you want to achieve? And we also had an ulterior motive, Jen and I, and that is to get more people on our team. There's only 4 counselors. We meet with our students. We do communicate a lot with our coaches. Please tell us who are your athletes that are college bound and have this potential, because we want to make sure they're taking the right courses, that they're getting the grades that they need, that they're getting the ACT score. But that's only 4 of us. By imparting this knowledge to more teachers, we expanded our counselor team to, you know, that much and many more. Thank you.
And our entire presentation is available online if you guys would like to brush up on it. We also have a handout that we gave those in attendance that just did some...
a lot of resources. Yeah. As a coach, a parent, a teacher, the NCAA site has some good classroom posters that can be used and whatnot. So just want to connect the teachers with those resources.
Board members, do you have any questions for Jennifer?
Very nice presentation.
Thank you, lady. Thank you.
Our next 2 presentations are going to focus on our new technology. First, we have Kristen Kazmarek, who is a social studies teacher here at Hillcrest High School, and she paired with Myra Ortega, who is our Spanish teacher at Bremen, and they're going to talk to you about iPad, Reflector, and technology, and all the things that we're doing with it.
So we started this presentation basically because there was so much new technology introduced to the district within the past couple of years, and we wanted to make other teachers aware of the fantabulousness of it. So that's why we entitled our presentation, iPads, Reflector, and Technology. Oh my! So the first thing we presented on briefly was just Google and how amazing it is to use in your classroom. We discussed how you can upload your current files to the Google Drive, and it can be used as a collaboration tool, which makes it so much easier because you're no longer having to email back and forth like the newest revisions of it. How I use Google Forms for my textbook inventories now, so I don't have to worry about losing that paper copy at all, which tends to happen. And I use Slips for students, even quizzes, and Google Slides, how I could use Google Slides and walk around my room with what we're going to show you, Reflector, and how easy it is as a classroom management tool. So just uploading documents briefly. Reflector, what is it? Why is it so cool? Well, it's a way for you to reflect what is on your iPad or mobile device onto a screen. And all the district computers have it on them, so every teacher is able to use it. The new version, because it was just an update, it allows you to record what you're doing. So I haven't really messed around with that as much, but I foresee using it in the future to post all my notes online, or even to flip classrooms. How I use it, and I'm going to show you briefly. I use Reflector in my classroom with the Google Drive. I upload my documents, and I can pull up Google Drive, it's an app on my iPad, and walk around the room and go through slides, zoom in on things, that the students need to take a closer look on. For taking notes, Newsella, Notability, hashtag love it, and hashtag a must have. And I'll show you how I use that too. Museum, which is the front page of newspapers around the world. So if I have leftover time in my classes, I can pull up that app and be like, what's going on in Brazil? And it'll pull up the first page of the newspaper. And the camera, because students can now take a picture of their work, or I can take a picture of their work and reflect it on the screen and make comments to show them, or they could present on something. In the foreign language classroom, you can take a picture of something and use and ask your students to target language like, Eric, like describe it. What is it like? So this is me in the classroom using Reflector and Notability. So Notability, I uploaded a document to it. I'm highlighting, and the students can see what I highlight on the screen, and they can model that, which really helps to teach them. I have a lot of REI classes. That also helps my students stay on task, and I'll show you some cool pictures. But this is, I could enlarge it. I enlarged the timeline when we were talking about a timeline. Anything I draw, and I'm going to show you a picture, I don't even know why the kids do sometimes, but now they're like, everything I do, they do too, which is so cool. So as you can see, they're all on tabs, they're all highlighting. I've noticed more students now bringing highlighters to class. I use it a lot to reinforce Common Core Standard 1, which is for them to be able to know the information and be able to cite it. And that's really what I noticed based on my test data that my students needed help with. We're all actively participating. And here's just a student following along. Notice her phone is on her desk, but what I love about it is not going off. She's not on it. Instead, she's focused on the task at hand. This is an example of student work. So I was going through their homework the other night. I just thought this was so cool because, I mean, the student drew what I did, and then she's highlighting, going over the map. We did a political cartoon. On the side, it kind of cut off, but like she wrote her own note, like he's bogus. So she was taking her own note on the data, which I thought was really funny. And I was like, extra credit, yes he was. So Myra's now going to talk about how she uses it, but in a different way.
So just touching base upon Google, I use a lot of Google Classroom, which, I mean, we've heard about it so many times. I'm teaching 3 AP classes this year, which tends to be very challenging organization-wise. It's a must. Google Classroom is amazing, especially since we're trying to get our students used to that whole college, university, kind of mode. I use it as a form of a Blackboard forum, so discussion forums, make sure they're speaking in the target language. So it really does help them stay organized and just participate. If they're scared to do it in the classroom, they can definitely use that in Google Classroom and do it that way. One thing that I did start, and I actually thought it was a great idea, was what do kids love these days? Pictures, Instagram, and how can I ruin it? Put some activities that we're doing in the classroom. But actually I haven't ruined it yet, which is pretty good. I actually presented this at Bremen. I have, Dr. Kabelkis and Mr. Rabarcha gave me some time to actually present how I use it in my classroom. So I allow my students to join an Instagram page that I created for them.
It's a specific classroom, not a personal page.
Right, it's not a personal account. This is strictly for my classes and also for parents to join. So during parent-teacher conference, I give them a consent form. I let them know that they could go on the Instagram page, look at fun activities that we're doing in the classroom, like the pictures, and the kids don't like it because the parents are now on Instagram, but it's a great resource for them to see what's going on. So right here, I just posted a couple of things that we do, images. So right here, as you can see my students. Mr. Johnson and I decided to write letters to Paula. If you guys don't know who Paula is, she is a student at Bremen who lost her battle to cancer. And we decided it would be something awesome to do to write letters to her family. Her family, like many families in Midlothian, do not speak English. So that's where my students came in, and we translated those letters for the parents. So I actually posted that, and as you can see, students were liking it, parents were liking it. Great way to get the community involved and parents involved in what they're doing. Here's another thing. Dr. Kabelkis always said that I'm cheating. because I am posting pictures on the weekends of something that we're doing, you know, in class, and students are liking it immediately. And I mean, because they're always on their phone. So again, it's instant feedback, and they can comment. And you know, as you can see, it's in the target language. I mean, I'm a Spanish teacher, so AP, they're really getting involved. And it's awesome to see that. I'm like, oh, tear, they're actually doing this. Like, this is amazing. So again, also reminders, great for reminders. They're always on their phones in the hallways, so if they forget that we're in the IMC, there you go, let me post a picture and go straight to the IMC. So, and here's just some more posts. If I'm out sick, I let them know. I let them know what they're gonna do ahead of time before they even ask the sub. You know, a couple of assignments. My Spanish ones, they had to study the alphabet. So a fun thing about Instagram is you could record your voice and they can just send me their practice. If they don't want to do it in class, they actually do it through this application, which is great. So, and here actually, some of my students, here's some images of them using Reflector for their presentations. One of my biggest pet peeves, and I know many teachers probably hate this too, when you have in-class presentations, one of them has to be behind the computer. And I don't like that because they think that they participated, and they didn't. So I thought it would be great to have the students access Reflector and actually use it so they can stand in front of their peers and actually present, and it actually worked out beautifully.
And they love it.
Yeah, and they love it. I mean, they feel like they're in full control, and they are. So it was awesome for them to use it. Here they're learning about Tezcatlipoca, which was a god in Mexican mythology.
But they're leading their classes.
They're leading
student centered, and I do it with a lot of my classes too, and they love reflecting, and they're getting used to it now too. So notability, we talked about today's meet, which is just a place where you can hold like an online virtual conversation with students, as exit slips, stuff like that. They don't have to put their names, so they might feel more comfortable participating in QR codes, which is just an easy way for them to scan information. So we presented a potpourri, if you will, of things to use in the classroom, but we focused on Reflector and how fantastic it is, and how it's amazing how one device can be used so many ways in the classroom. So thank you for your time. Yeah, but not the one with the pictures because we didn't.
Right, we will upload it.
So we'll send it to you. Yes.
Board members, questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have two of our media specialists, Mary Rose Burness and Kelly Shala from Bremen. They are also been heavily involved in our iPad rollout. They have been trained through Apple Education. They work directly with Scott Leach, who was one of our keynote speakers at the October Institute. And they're really focusing on this concept called SAMR. It's an acronym that stands for Substitution, Augmentation, Modification, and Redefinition. How do we take this thing, this iPad, and use it effectively as a teaching and learning tool? Mary Rose and Kelly focus on substitution and augmentation, so they're going to share with you what we covered.
The SBA is for Sala and the MR is Mary Rose, but that's really fun. That's just a way for us to remember.
Yeah, we just decided.
So hello, I'm Mary Rose Burness and Kelly Sala, Bremen IMC. Yes. Basically, with the district going one-to-one with iPads, we did some prep work starting last year and tried to address what that would look like in our classrooms. Dr. Ruben Fuentadura developed the SAMR model as a way for teachers to evaluate how they're incorporating technology into instructional practice. This is my favorite slide because it helps me remember what the SDA, the M, the R stand for. We start at number 1, which is same. We just substitute our regular teaching with something with technology. Number 2, augmentation. We make it not so lame. Our number 3, we reframe it. That's our modification. And then the 4th, which would be the top level actually, is to change the game, and that's our redefinition. The whole point is to be able to do something that you could not do years ago because you didn't have the technology, but still being able to teach your information, your lessons.
And then to further explain the whole SAMR model, and again, we're focusing on the whole idea that the freshmen don't have the iPads now, so we have all this technology at our fingertips, but we're looking to sometimes use it as a substitution, sometimes augment the lesson, sometimes modify, and then eventually, not every lesson, but get to that point where you're redefining, where you're doing something like Myra's doing, basically using Instagram and informing her students, that I'm not going to be here tomorrow. This is what I want you to do. So, this is what we're shooting for, and so we have a little video that explains it to you.
Starbucks. Let me see if I can explain this a little bit more in detail. Let's say you have a cup of coffee that you make at home as the original non-digital assignment. Starbucks, for our purposes, represents educational technology. So for the S of the SAMR model, you simply go to Starbucks and order a cup of coffee. You have substituted the cup of coffee at home for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Nothing changes. Cup of coffee for a cup of coffee. Now, augmentation. Suppose instead of a simple cup of coffee, you want Starbucks to do something to it. Maybe add cream, some ice to the coffee. It's still basically a cup of coffee, but now it's augmented. We have taken that basic cup of coffee and just added some things to it. Ice, cream, maybe some sugar, and a straw, but we still basically have a cup of coffee. Now we want Starbucks to modify our coffee. We want them to do something to the coffee that we probably could do, but it would be much more difficult than just a cup of coffee. So we ordered an iced caramel macchiato, which we could make at home if we really tried, but it's probably a lot easier for Starbucks to make it. They have modified the original coffee with their own flavors and syrups. They added whipped cream as well. Truly a modified coffee. Now finally, we want to get a drink that can only be purchased at Starbucks. They will totally redefine the coffee into a pumpkin spice latte. Only Starbucks makes it that way. They even have a trademark on the recipe. So that is how you can think about the SAMR model of technology integration, from simple cup of coffee to a Starbucks pumpkin spiced latte. So the next time you're using technology in your classroom, think to yourself, am I substituting this technology for something I could do offline, or am I redefining the task or redesigning the task, allowing students to do things that
So basically, we wanted you to have a background understanding of the SAMR model and what it meant before we gave you the rest of the presentation here. So one example we gave when we were presenting on Institute Day to our fellow teachers was about storytelling. So substitution level, you can type an essay. So when you're storytelling, that's how you're using the technology, just to substitute instead of writing it out. Augmentation, you can type it using various tools, like an online thesaurus, spell check, word count. Modifications, students collaborate and they use an online storytelling tool or an app. And then redefinition, use Twitter to pose a class story starter, and then students could use Twitter to continue. And that is obviously something that we wouldn't see in a classroom 10 years ago, so it's completely redefined.
We found an example of a great lesson that 2 teachers at Bremen did. Kevin Donegan and Rob Davis did a geometry lesson, and they completely SAMRized it. And they had seen our presentation, of course, and they were inspired, I guess. And they did this really cool thing where the students actually physically turned their bodies into these different geometric shapes. So they were put in groups, and they at least had one iPad per group, or a phone, whatever they had. They had to form 6 basic geometric figures with their bodies and take pictures, and then they were brought to class. And they actually used that as a grade. And there were some modifications made. If they weren't in class, they would have to make up the assignment on their own. And we actually have some pictures of what they came up with, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, they were kind enough to share this with us. So obviously this is a geometry lesson. We're former English teachers, so please no questions. Okay.
We learned a lot.
We're just showing pictures. So they showed here a line and array coming off the line. These again, they're out in the courtyard in Bremen. 2 lines that intersect at one point. An obtuse angle. A line with a point not on the line. 4 non-collinear points that form a plane. And then a screenshot. This was shared with the students at the end after they, came back in the courtyard, back to the classroom. Students use the Reflector app to put pics up on the screen, and the entire class will grade each group's work.
So how they summarize the lesson. The substitution will be just taking pictures of the students, forming the geometric figures instead of looking in a book at drawings and straight lines and things. Augmentation, they save the pictures on their phone or iPad to show later. The modification, if students were absent, they could do the assignment on their own. They could do pictures of even objects in their home or have somebody pose if they had enough people around. They could actually explain that and send the actual pictures to their teachers. And the redefinition, they projected those pictures and graded the assignment in class using a reflector. So something they could not have done with geometry 10 years ago.
So where to go next? Again, we were giving this presentation at Institute Day for our teachers across the district. So we found this valuable resource. It's called commonsensemedia.org. And it provides teachers and schools with free research-based classroom tools to help students harness technology for learning and life. Common Sense offers teachers lesson flows. And this was the really cool part. It's what the teachers enjoyed looking at, and in fact, we've received some feedback since then. Teachers can map out a lesson and figure out how and where they might use digital tools. Teachers can judge for themselves if they're using technology as substitution, augmentation, modification, or redefinition. So there's like this lesson flow that Kelly's now going to show you what it looks like. Right.
You can be really specific. There's a lot of things posted by different people, different teachers across the country, different levels. And a lot of examples are posted, but you can be very specific. You can ask for a certain grade level and a certain subject area, a certain topic. You can get really specific and pinpoint a lesson. And as you can see, what they actually list is they gather data. This is the whole setup for the lesson. And next to the description, you'll see the apps that were used to enhance the lesson. So it's really specific information. So we direct our teachers to this to try to check this out.
Yeah, at the very top are like the essential questions. And again, teachers right away responded to us in the presentation, this would be great for Danielson. Okay, so that was one thing that, one bit of feedback.
Here's where they can do independent work, so it's really specific as to the lesson step by step. There's graphing the data, examining the data. Actually, this lesson was on the history of Starbucks, the history and the success of Starbucks since like 1971 to the present. So we were on the Starbucks topic. I thought it would be kind of interesting. And the math classes were looking at this. And it goes on. This is a whole lesson. Yeah. There's a wrap-up, closure. They even show some apps to use for that. And then there's extension opportunities where you can take the lesson even further. So it gets really specific, and you can search for whatever lesson, whatever grade level you'd like. And you can also upload your own.
Okay, so then this is what we did after we gave our presentation. We had like the teachers in the room at the Institute Day. We said, well, think of a lesson you regularly teach or you recently taught. Regarding your lesson, how would you be able to use an iPad to create a substitution lesson? And then we asked them to try to create augmentation because we were focusing on substitution and augmentation that particular day. And then share the lessons, with the class for the last 10 minutes. So we gave them about 5 or 10 minutes to just talk with each other. And then we came back, and I think we can all agree from that session that that was really the most valuable part when the teachers spoke up and said, yeah, this is what I've been doing, this is where I substitute, this is where there's augmentation, and some of them took it further with SAMR, but everyone contributed pretty much in that group session, And I think they all found it very valuable, just that they were all able to analyze and share with each other.
And some have come up to us since. So since the October Institute Day, and said, hey, this is what I came up with since that. It kind of got the wheels turning and thinking in a different way. So we appreciate that. That was a good outcome.
And then here we go. This was the feedback we've received really since we gave the presentation. A lot of the people obviously from Bremen, that's where we work. One, it's an excellent way to build a lesson. So they think about it a little bit more as they are using their iPad or any other type of technology. They think of the SAMR model.
Second one, self-reflection on the lesson. Sharing with peers helps to build on using higher levels of SAMR. So just that whole working together, thinking and talking out loud and what you could do with your own lesson kind of helps spark other people to think that way.
And then utilizing the technology not possible 10 years ago keeps students engaged.
As Myra and Kristen.
Exactly.
Exactly. So stuff that didn't exist before, it's really, keeping up with the kids is what's helping us, get these lessons through them. Examining the lesson objective using technology and moving it up to the higher levels of the SAMR model makes the tech a tool and not the focus of the lesson. So that's like a big thing that's come across us through people from Apple. It's really not so much the tool that you're focusing on, it's your lesson and how you're going to get that through. So the tool is just that, it's just a tool, but you really need to get your information through.
And then after the workshop, a few teachers told us that this model helps with the planning and the reflection and the Danielson evaluation. One teacher even made a joke that he kind of made sure he put the SAMR model in as he spoke during his evaluation, and he was joking around saying, yeah, it worked out great, the kids were engaged. I don't know if the evaluator saw it, but hey, they were all engaged, So he was really making sure and giving us feedback and telling us that it was helpful to him in planning his lessons. So that is all we have today. November 23rd, please. Stop. Oh, yes. Okay, so we're at Bremen, we're very excited. We put in, and anyone's welcome to stop by, anyone here, any administrator from another school. There's this new thing called Google Expeditions. It's something where Google is coming around to different high schools that actually have the Google Apps for Education suite. And we put in for it a while ago. I was contacted, and we actually were able to arrange for a visit this Monday, November 23rd. So from 8 to 3, 18 different classes will be able to have these expeditions. And what they are right now is, everyone's asking me, well, what's Google selling you? And they're not selling us anything. It's in the very beginning stages. It's like we're at the cutting edge here. They're just taking, they call it like a prototype, and they have these little cardboard, like, what do they call it? Yeah, like the viewfinder. Remember when you were younger, you had a Viewmaster? Well, they're these little cardboard things, and they have a smartphone at the end. And so the kids, the students put them on, and then the teacher's going to, every teacher involved, again, we have 17 different teachers from Bremen involved in this, from all different subject areas. They're going to have a device where they control the expedition. And then the kids
It's like a virtual tour.
It's a virtual
of whatever topic they want.
Field trip. It's a virtual field trip. Thank you. So yeah, we're very excited. They're coming on November 23rd to Bremen from 8 to 3. And
we'll have 3 rooms, 3 areas where it's going all day.
Yeah, there's only going to be one person from Google, so they're going to train the 2 media specialists, and then we're going to help out 2 media specialists. Yeah, the 2 media specialists. The S and the A and the M and the R.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. So thank you.
Board members, any questions?
Oh yes, any questions?
I'm just glad that it's
Our last presenters, we have Heather Mansky from a PE teacher at Oak Forest, along with Stacy Faulkner, also a PE teacher at Oak Forest. And the PE department has really made a shift towards getting students to understand lifelong fitness and thinking about their health and well-being, especially nutrition. So their conversation with the teachers was about, all the junk food and all the sugar that kids are eating and what it's doing to their bodies. So.
Okay, so ever since there's been a rise in diabetes, actually like type 2 diabetes and cancer and other conditions, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, we've actually kind of started to focus a little bit more on our sugar and the added sugar intake of our students. So we're going to kind of get into that a little bit here. So the average American consumes between 150 to 170 pounds of sugar a year. So that's 2 to 3 pounds of sugar a week. I actually brought my kids to Costco and found some 50-pound sugar bags, and just to kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. There's a sample of
3 bags of these is what one person eats in a year.
So 3 bags. The reason why the sugar has gone up, and we were seeing this diabetes, is because they're back in the 1970s. Cardiovascular disease, heart disease has become much more prevalent, and so therefore they actually had a war on fat campaign that they started. And so what they did was they said, okay, we need to change the diet, it's the American diet, we need to make it low fat, or fat free. So what they did was they made things low fat, but the problem is when you take out the fat, you take out the taste. When you take out the taste, what do you need to do to make it taste better but to what? Add sugar. Okay? So now we have this issue with diabetes going on here. So we talk about with our students some of the foods that are containing added sugars. A lot of times they just think like it's just cookies and candies and things like that, soda and so forth. But really, there's a lot of different things that, I was even shocked. I was actually eating yogurt on a daily basis, and it's healthy for you. But I was eating the stuff that had, the fruit in it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot of sugar in here. Some of the other things that we talk about is, like applesauce, we have added sugar in there, pasta sauce, vitamin water, you think that's healthy. We actually have on the board the sugar amount in vitamin water, which again, like I said, you would think that would be healthy, but unfortunately, there's quite a bit of sugar in there. So we're going to go through this a little bit.
Okay, what we did was we had them be a detective, so they had to look at all the ingredients and pick out all the sugar. There's so many hidden words for sugar. This is actually a granola bar, so we had to go through and find out corn syrup, and they disguise the different words for sugar in order to add more sugar. And since we had our presentation, there was the Center for Science and Public Interest actually filed a lawsuit against General Mills for their Cheerios protein. Okay, so what they're doing for breakfast, they're trying to say you should eat more protein for breakfast. So what they did was, highly advertise this, and what they didn't tell you is they added 16 grams of sugar to the protein. Okay, a regular box of Cheerios has just a little bit less protein and only has 1 gram of sugar in it. So there's actually a lawsuit against General Mills because of their kind of false advertising, saying you need more protein for breakfast, but not telling anybody about the sugar content.
There's 56 different names for sugar. So you really have to go through and kind of find it if you're into that kind of thing and looking through the ingredient list. But I was surprised when I went through the list. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe all this high fructose corn syrup, which is just terrible.
This is a lot of what our kids eat, empty calories. So empty calories is any type of food that has no nutritional value. So basically something that's sugar-filled. This is what constitutes our teens' diet, and there's a lot of things you might like on there too. We did some research on the effects of how sugar affects teens. Lots of sad things. Obviously, weight gain is a huge one. Anxiety, cardiovascular disease. Eating too much sugar can actually cause fatty liver. That was only found years ago in someone that had a drinking problem. Now we're finding that in people that eat too much sugar. So increased cholesterol, increased food allergies, and also cancer and other disease. Sugar feeds on that and sometimes can make it worse. High fructose diet sabotages learning and memory, which makes it difficult for concentrating, and that's obviously important in the classroom. And excess sugar suppresses the body's immune responses, so it shuts down your immune system instead of helping your immune system fight off disease. One other study with ADHD students showed an increase in stress hormones. So when they shoot up the sugar, it actually increases stress hormones in kids that have ADHD more than kids that don't.
and it actually can cause them to be more stressed.
Okay, and another thing too, after our Institute Day, we actually had Brent Liffenberg from our school talk about a friend of his who was diagnosed with cancer. And one of the things that they talked about with, his friend was that, he really needed to reduce the amount of sugar in his diet because cancer cells feed off of sugar, and he's actually doing much better, and, they see a much more improvement after he has changed his diet, from being a high sugar diet to more of a low sugar diet.
And then Brent actually went on the diet and lost 20 pounds, so he told us that.
Yeah. Another thing, sorry, going back to this, so I was trying to figure out, how can we show, our students, rather than being like, okay, so here's a number of, sugar grams, this is what you're supposed to have in a day, how can we show them in a better way how much sugar they're consuming? Actually, just to give you an idea, you're only, according to American Heart Association, the recommended amount of sugar is 32 grams, which is 7.5 teaspoons for a day. So it's that much. So after doing a sugar lab in health class with the students, this is what we found. So the bag on, her right is the recommended amount, and that's how much she took in. Not too bad. Okay, this young man, this is the 1-day sugar intake on the left side or right side, it's depending on how you're looking at it. And again, you can see the larger amount. We also did a 3-day sugar intake just because I wanted to make sure, just in case they did have, a good day here or there, I wanted to make sure that they could get an idea, of what it was over a couple days, and so therefore that was what he had. This is this young lady's sugar intake. Another one here. And this is my good buddy Cole. Can't even close the bag. So it's I've actually had these kids send this to their parents, and I just wanted to get an idea what they thought, and some of them just said it doesn't surprise me. I know how my son or daughter eats. I had a couple comments from some of my students saying that's disgusting. Like, I can't believe that's how much sugar I ate, and it's made some changes in their eating habits. So this is a sugar lab that we did. And this is just a calculation. You would take the grams, divide it by 4, and it tells you how many teaspoons. So what they did is they just took that amount of teaspoons and then put it into the bag, and then kind of compare. One of the things that I do like to mention to the students is that we're not trying to tell you you can't eat anything, because that's impossible. But what we're trying to say is is there a way that we can maybe take out some of the stuff like the Gatorade? Or passing by, the vending machine and getting yourself a bag of M&Ms. Eat that yogurt. It's healthy, but what else can we take out to make your diet a little bit healthier?
The Gatorade here has 42 grams of sugar, and the recommended is 32 for a whole day. So if they're intaking this, they're already past their 1-day max from one Gatorade. And actually, most, if you talk to any type of trainer or whatever, you really don't need a Gatorade if you're running a marathon. So water is really your best bet when you're exercising. And this is in our cafeteria. This has 70 grams of sugar in one bottle.
One day I was walking around the cafeteria and I saw a student drinking that and eating 2 cookies from the cafeteria. It says at your lunch, it's like, yep, and it's sure good. So at the Institute, we also had them participate in the sugar lab, and so here are some of the results from our faculty. This is my husband and his sugar intake. I don't know if he cheated a little bit. I kind of said he might have been a little bit more than that. But, and this is another faculty member in his sugar intake. And so as teachers, we can make a difference. Nutrition matters. And so it is so important that we teach our students how to live a healthy lifestyle with proper nutrition and exercise. They are our future, and without their health, they may not live up to their full potential. That's it. To check out our boards, if you'd like to see the different amounts of sugar and some of the common foods that students eat or they eat as well. Any questions?
Very good information, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank all the presenters who did a fantastic job tonight. Board members, you have the task on the yellow sheet, so think about the presentations. I'm asking you to vote for your top three. The top presentation are worth 3 points and then 2 points and 1 point. We do this because we want to, again, continue to provide professional development for our teachers to continue to improve their practice. And by your votes, you're going to be sending 2 of these ladies to a state or national convention of their choice, all expenses paid, and it's covered through our Title II grant. So it's a great opportunity, and then they become our keynote speakers for our next institute. So thank you again, everyone.
Do we have any comments from the public? Moving on to reports with the superintendents.
Freedom of Information Act request since our last meeting. Ms. Kim Gold of Oak Forest requested the 2014-15 and the 2015-16 Alpha school bus contracts. This request has been completed. Mr. Owen Daniel McCarter of the Illinois Safe School Alliance requested policies or practices regarding transgender and gender non-conforming students, bullying, harassment, and discrimination, LGBTQ organizations, sex education courses, instruction on disabilities, the name of our student information system program, and textbooks used for Illinois Learning Standards. This request has been completed. I attended the IASB South Cook Fall meeting on October 27th and would like to congratulate Mr. Johnson, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Campworth, and Mrs. Ressler for achieving awards in the Illinois Association of School Boards Master Board Programs. Congratulations. Sunday, November 15th was School Board Members Day in Illinois. On behalf of the entire District 228 community, I'd like to thank our Board of Education for your service. Wednesday, December 2nd is our annual Senior Citizens Luncheon at all 4 of our high schools. Our students do a great job of hosting this event with meal, building tours, and entertainment, and I look forward to traveling around the district to meet our senior citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any board members have anything to say?
I have some questions. Ready? I guess this one would be directed to Dr. Kendall for some information. I've been asked for information on it, and I don't have any. Back on August 26th, and it was a couple of days into the school year, obviously, there was an incident, or supposed incident, with a kid and a student being lost. Do you have any information on that? Supposedly a police report was filed with the Midlothian Police Department. Lost as far as unaccountable. It was not accounted for. Do you have anything on that? So that's.
I can look into it. August 26th. August 26th. Yeah.
And the student was from Bremen.
It was a Midlothian student.
Yeah.
I believe it was one of our special ed students. 2 buses were sent to the house, and the student got on the wrong bus, and I think the mom was nervous as another bus then showed up, and she thought her student may have gotten on the bus to go to another school. But the student did end up at our site at Southbrook College, and I had circled back the parent, and the staff of the program had also circled back the parent and discussed it as well.
This is something that stayed with you and your department, right? I mean, it didn't go any further.
It didn't go any further. I think it would be my department, and I think Mr. Sikora and Mr. Belkis may have been involved, just talking to the parent, because I think he was a homeschool Oak Forest student.
So 2 buses showed up. She didn't know which bus she got on. The first got on the correct bus and went to where he was supposed to be.
He got on the wrong bus.
Oh, but he was.
But it was still a district bus, but it was taking him to the wrong site. But once we had communicated with all of our sites and found the student, he was brought to Bremen where he was supposed to be. Was he mom contacted? Yeah, mom contacted the police when another bus showed up and just to try to find another student.
Mr. Canning, I'm familiar with this now, but I thought you were talking about the student who's missing. absolutely.
So, did any other board member get notified, anybody, or did you just handle it within the administration?
Yeah, we handled it internally.
Do you have a copy of the police report at all?
I wouldn't have access to that, I don't think it's apparent well that.
I may have one in my office, I'll have to check with my secretary.
Okay, if you have it, could I at least see it? Thank you. And then my last question is, I guess it's for you, Mrs. Stearns. What are we doing with the committee recordings? As far as, I was at the committee meeting this last week, and I know that we're recording them now. And I didn't know until I showed up and saw the recorder there. I think it's a good idea, but I just want to know what our protocol is going to be. We have certain protocols when we record closed sessions, we destroy them after a certain amount of time. How are we going to handle those things? Do you have any idea?
I don't actually. We asked everyone if they wanted.
Who has access to them?
To do it. I believe they're posted on the website, right? Or there's access to them, or that was the plan. There's access to them because it's all about transparency, and so that eventually should be happening, right?
So they're going to be transcribed and put.
Policy committee will have to decide how long we're going to keep them and.
Are they transcribed or are they actually going to be in voice recording?
Just audio, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unless anybody wants anything different, we'll have to discuss it.
Yeah, I just didn't know. Like I said, I saw it. We had some conversation about it, and I just wanted a little bit more clarification. So, thank you.
I was able to, I just wanted to congratulate all the students. It looks like many parents have already left, but just want to congratulate the students, and I want the future Dr. Sims on all the efforts, because I didn't know all of this, and it's wonderful that, especially knowing, some kids don't like math, and seeing the outpour of students that came out to support the mathletes, that's very, very, very good, and all the accomplishments made by the students at Hillcrest High School, as well as Bremen, Tinley Park, and Oak Forest High Schools. So kudos to you. Also, I was able to attend the Parent and Community University dinner held on October 27th in Hickory Hill. This was a presentation, there was a presentation conducted by HF High School on how to connect with parents, better connect with parents and community. After seeing the presentation, I was very happy to note that we have already, that this school district has already implemented some of those practices. So I was very happy to see that, as well as learning how to better connect with the community and our students, and to make it a better learning environment for all. Also, I was glad to be able to receive an award on that night, as well as our other board members. I want to say congratulations to you as well. And my prayers are with Dr. Payne or Mr. Calvin Goldman, because I know he is, that cancer is something that affects many of us all when somebody else is affected. So our prayers go out to him. And I'm glad to see how technology is being used, and that we're trying to be on the cutting edge of technology. Our state ISB conference is coming up soon, and I look forward to attending that for more professional development.
Christine, did you have anything?
No, I'm not at this time, thank you.
Okay, I'm fulfilling a promise I made to 2 Hillcrest moms with the following. And this may be because of the success of the football team. There's some concerns about the support that the cheerleaders give the football teams at all 4 schools. Some people may be tired of me talking about this. According to Oxford Dictionary, cheerleader is an enthusiastic and vocal supporter that performs organized cheering, chanting, or dancing in support of teams. The concerns are, and I've witnessed this, I've attended games where cheerleaders have performed as little as 2 cheers a quarter, I've been at games where something's occurred on the field and cheerleaders didn't know how to react. Been at games where players are pleading with cheerleaders in the crowd to get involved as a way to motivate them, especially in instances when the score's close, time is running out. More than not, they're answered with silence. I've been to games where parents are actually yelling at the cheerleaders to cheer. I've heard from cheer moms that some of them feel that they're not getting the full experience that they should, or at least equal to the money they put into the activity. They come to the games to see their children cheer, and they see their children standing around. I've been to games where it's been so quiet you can hear the players on the field. I've witnessed cheerleaders go up to the pep squads in the stands and tell them they need to be louder, and they're met with total looks of befuddlement and confusion. Again, I've heard parents yelling at the fans to do something and have the cheerleaders yell back, "We don't have a cheer for this situation. We don't know what to do." And one instance, a fan yelled back, this happened to be a dad, "It's 1st and 10, you learn that in Pee-wee's come out." A Hillcrest mom asked me if the cheerleaders understand their purpose there, what they are actually supposed to be doing when they're at these games, that they're supposed to keep the team and the crowd up and motivated in the game. I know the cheerleaders enjoy their competition season, as they should, but they also need to realize why they're on the field. One of the two particular moms asked me if it was possible if the addenda be split, cheerleaders have their competition season, and the individual pep squads take on the role of the team and crowd motivations at games. So with that, I fulfilled my promise to these two moms. And we'll move on to committee reports.
I'm sorry, say it again?
We're on committee reports.
Can you guys hear me? Because I could read them, or you can, or
yeah, you're fine.
Okay, great. So the Finance Committee met on November 10th. Meeting was called to order at 7:11 p.m. Present were myself, Mr. Canning, Mrs. Camworth, Mr. O'Malley. There were none absent. Guests were Alicia Solis and Mr. Dale Thompson. For new business, November bills and press funds and deposits. The Finance Committee reviewed and discussed November bills and press expenditures and deposits. These items were also reviewed by the superintendent, who along with the Finance Committee will be recommending full board approval at the November Board of Education meeting. Over 5,000 purchase orders, there were none. Career Development System, CDS bills, the Finance Committee reviewed the CDS bills totaling $22,160.17. The superintendent, along with the Finance Committee, is recommending full board approval of the CDS November bills as presented. The 2015 tentative aggregate levy. The Finance Committee thoroughly reviewed and discussed the 2015 tentative levy. Mr. O'Malley provided a presentation explaining the levy process and historical data provided to tax rates and EAVs. The additional levy amounts to the Special Education Fund is to prevent a problem due to the declining EAVs and increasing tax rates, and to avoid the future possibility of hitting our rate ceiling in the Education Fund. The district is limited to the CPI of 0.8 for the 2015 levy. The levy worksheet and the levy schedule were explained. The 2015 levy will be less than a 5% increase over the last year's levy, and will not require a public hearing prior to the adoption of the final levy. The Finance Committee and the Superintendent is recommending full board approval of the 2015 tentative levy. PTAS, the last name is Castro Giovanni Luke. The Finance Committee discussed the property tax appeal and Mr. Izzo's recommendation to settle this matter to avoid potential revenue loss of $35,000 to the district. The Finance Committee and the Superintendent is recommending full board approval of the proposed settlement agreement. Discussion. The Finance Committee discussed the need for some follow-up from the board regarding the Finance Committee of a whole meeting. Announcement: next meeting will be December 7th at 7 p.m. in the Administration Center, and the meeting was adjourned at 8:27 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Policy, Mrs. Gleason.
Mrs. Stearns, the Policy Committee met on October 28th. All committee members were present, including myself, Mr. Johnson, and Mrs. Jones. The committee reviewed the following press recommendations: 2.160 Board Attorney, 2.260 Uniform Grievance Procedure, 4.50 Payment Procedures, 5.50 Drug and Alcohol Free Workplace Tobacco Prohibition, 5.170 Copyright, 5.270 employment at will compensation and assignment, 5.290 employment termination and suspensions, 6.140 education of homeless children, 7.10 equal educational opportunities, 7.40 non-public school students including parochial and homeschool students, 7.220 bus conduct, 7.260 exemption from physical activity, 7.310 restrictions on publications, 7.325 student fundraising activities, 8.10 connection with the community, and 8.80 gifts to the district. Following review of each of these policy recommendations, the consensus was from the committee was for the superintendent to present this at tonight's meeting for first reading. Meeting adjourned at 4:35.
The personnel meeting met on November 9th. Everyone on the committee was present. Ms. Camworth and Ms. Sleece were guests. There were no comments from the public. We had no old business. Mr. Goggins presented the following certificated staff recommendations. The approval of a FMLA leave for a math teacher and a maternal leave request for a PE teacher for Bremen. The acceptance of a resignation of a services facilitator and the approval of the employment of a science tutor, a math tutor, and a student assistant for Tinley Park. The approval of FMLA leave for a business teacher and the acceptance of resignation of a math tutor and the approval of an additional pupil personnel staff member. After review of all certificate staff items, the committee agreed to make recommendations to the full board for approval. He also presented the following educational support personnel recommendations. For Bremen, the resignation of an ELL bilingual aide. At Hillcrest, the employment of a part-time weekend custodian and a supervisor's secretary. And of course, the approval of the employment of a special ed aide. And some discussion was held regarding whether or not the district should incorporate drug testing prior to employment and or utilize random drug testing for employees. District administration is going to provide information in the future for consideration. Our next meeting is December 7th, 6:30 at the Ed Center. New business, Mr. Mealy.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner. Board members, item 10.1 pertains to our monthly bills, the addendum to bills, payroll, and CDS bills. Along with the Finance Committee, the superintendent is recommending these items to the full board this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
By Mr. Gleason, I'm sorry, was that Mr. Johnson or Mr. Cantor? Any discussion? No discussion.
Mrs. Gleason? Aye. Mr. Canning?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones? Aye. Mrs. Camworth? Aye. Mrs. Ressler?
Aye.
Ms. Stearns?
Aye.
Item 10.2 pertains to the 2015 tentative aggregate levy totaling $60.9 million. Finance Committee presented this information and reviewed it, and along with the superintendent for recommending the levy to the board this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Ressler, second by Ms. Gleason. Any discussion?
I've been to several meetings in the park world about the possibility of having property taxes frozen by the state legislature. The consensus among people in our world seems to be that this will happen in the spring, and next year's levy will set the baseline for what we will live with for the next 2 years and beyond, possibly, because who knows what they're going to do. So in other counties outside of Cook, it would be this levy that would set the baseline. So it's, I know you've gone through this with the Finance Committee. It's really important to make sure that you capture everything you're entitled to. I think you've done that.
Anyone else? Mrs. Ressler?
Aye.
Mrs. Gleason?
Aye.
Mr. Canning?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones? Aye. Mrs. Camworth? Aye. Ms. Stearns?
Aye.
Item 10.3 pertains to the PTAB for Luke Cassio Giovanni. The recommendation from the Finance Committee and the superintendent is to accept the settlement proposed by the attorneys for this PTAB.
So moved.
Second.
Oak Forest. It's on 164th Street in Oak Forest. It's a storage facility.
Mrs. Ressler?
Aye.
Mr. Canning?
Aye.
Mrs. Gleason? Aye. Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Camworth? Aye. Ms. Stearns?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 10.4 are overnight field trip requests. The first two are for Bremen High School. The boys basketball team would like to participate in the Thanksgiving tournament in Decatur. There'll be no loss of days and no cost to the students. Second from Bremen are the cheerleaders. They want to participate in a tournament in Springfield. This is over a weekend, so there'll be no loss of days and no cost to the students as they'll pay for it through fundraisers. Tinley Park High School baseball team would like to participate in a tournament down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This would occur over spring break, so there'll be no loss of days. They'll fundraise and also look for parent contributions to fund the trips. The superintendent is recommending the approval of these overnight field trip requests.
Second. Moved by Ms. Camworth, second by Ms. Gleason. Any discussion?
You know, I just got a question. I think these are great things. The staff-student ratios, I think for the most part, those trips, 2 coaches were going. Are there any other chaperones going on these trips?
Well, depending upon the program, it's usually 1 adult for every 10.
Okay.
Some of these, will have 3 coaches going. So again, depends on the number of students.
Okay.
More students have obviously more chaperones.
So they're not necessarily down on that paper yet, right? The chaperones.
For sure, the main ones are there, but the other ones are.
It could be added. I think it's a great thing.
I also am really excited that sports teams are participating in these tournaments.
All right. Mrs. Camworth? Aye. Mrs. Gleason? Aye. Mr. Canning?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Ressler?
Aye.
Ms. Stearns?
Aye.
Item 10.5 are curriculum handbook changes that will take effect in the 2016-17 school year. First, in the Department of English, it's more of a name change just to clarify and also shorten one of our names. The current junior class will be renamed to AP English Language and Composition. Right now it's called AP American Language, Literature, and Composition. And the senior course right now just says AP English. We want to rename it to actually what the College Board name is, which is AP English, Literature, and Composition. For world language, we want to put on the books AP Spanish Literature and Culture. This is the capstone course. Right now we have AP Spanish Language. This would be for senior students. Right now we're doing a pilot at Bremen. We're looking to put this on the books, starting off as a district course and hopefully the potential of growing that in each of the 4 buildings. In business, we want to add 10th graders having the option for personal finance. For some of our band students, they have the opportunity to take digital literacy over the summer, which then they could opt to delay their personal finance until their sophomore year. So they can either take it in the summer or in this, during their sophomore year and pair it with another semester class. So we want to add that option. The last set of changes are coming out of the special education department, and Lisa is really working with her team to align the special education curriculum directly with the gen ed curriculum. In essence, what they're doing is taking the general education course and modifying it to their students. So first in the area of English, you're going to see a consistent name change throughout all of the core areas in special ed by adding the word foundations. This way, everyone in the building and PPS and the teachers know that when they see a foundations of something, they know it's a self-contained special ed class. We were having some confusion where some of our special education courses, for example, is called World History, well, we have the same class in the gen ed, and so you didn't know, was this a self-contained or was this a gen ed class? We want to call it Foundations of World History, so everyone is really clear. So in English, the first 3 is just really adding the word foundations to our current levels. The 4th year of English, though, we want to revamp and create this new course which directly aligns to the gen ed senior course. It's a semester of cultural perspectives and a semester of speculative. They're designing it that way so also to provide some flexibility to allow special ed students to maybe go out and take the gen ed course, or if that's a little bit of a stretch, that they have the opportunity then to take the self-contained and it's directly aligned. In In the area of social studies, as mentioned, just adding the word foundations to world history and American. It's just a name change. Same thing with science, it's a name change, but also a realignment to follow the physics first sequence on the gen ed side. All the special ed students would start out with foundations of integrated physics, then foundations of chemistry, and foundations of biology their junior year. Lastly, in the area of business, again, realigning, reorganizing the work-study options for our students. They want to revamp the occupations, which is the classroom portion of work study, to be open to juniors, who then would go into the work study portion, which we're going to rename TEP, which is the Transitional Employment Program, which is what we have at South Suburban College. So we want to make sure we're aligned with that program. Everybody understands a junior would start off in occupations. We know that that's a student that's going to go to South Suburban. We're going to recommend the TEP. Seniors could also take occupations and learn the employment because they're getting ready to go into the workforce or potentially move on to college, and they don't necessarily need the work program portion, but they need that skills, that employment skills. So we want to also offer that to them as a senior. So those are all the changes. The superintendent is recommending full board approval of all these changes and or additions this evening.
So moved. Second. Moved by Mrs. Gleason, second by Mrs. Jones. Is there any discussion?
I just want to bring up, Dr. Williams, you and I had spoke about discussion for adding the honors English to the curriculum for junior year. So we have it for freshman, sophomore, and senior year. And I know we talked about the AP course being the same as what the honors would learn, but I still think we're doing a disservice to the kids that are freshmen and sophomore in honors, maybe necessarily don't want to go to the AP track. We don't have a junior honors course for that, but we have a senior honors course. So something we talked about in our phone call committee meeting that they're looking into.
Yes, we actually started that conversation with Ms. Roche. He's going to be looking at some data, having conversations with the teachers. In terms of the timeline, because we just had that conversation this week, I needed to bring these for approval because our handbook goes to print, and I need the time to print it before course selection process. So this is only print, though, for the freshmen. Upperclassmen get the online version. So between now and our next committee meeting, we'll be able to discuss it in December. Have that discussion, then we can bring it to the December meeting for approval, and then just make that digital change. So this will have an effect in the class.
Will the rest of the committee be apprised of all this because the meeting was canceled? So yes, this is all news. Yes.
Mrs. Gleason? Aye. Mrs. Jones? Aye. Mr. Canning?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Camworth? Aye. Mrs. Ressler?
Aye.
Ms. Jarvis?
Aye.
Item 10.6 is policy for first reading. I'm recommending the following revisions to the board policy for board attorney: uniform grievance procedure, payment procedures, drug alcohol-free workplace, tobacco prohibition, copyright, education of homeless children, equal educational opportunities, non-public school students, including parochial and homeschool students, restrictions on publications, student fundraising activities, connection with the community, and gifts to the district. Upon approval tonight, these items will be again presented at the December 15th board meeting for second and final reading. I'm recommending them for full board approval for first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Jones, second by Mrs. Gleason. Is there any discussion? No discussion.
Mrs. Jones? Aye. Mrs. Gleason? Aye. Mr. Canning?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Camworth? Aye. Mrs. Ressler?
Aye.
Ms. Stearns?
Aye. Personnel, Mr. Grimes.
10.7 is personnel. Under resignations, Heather Kajewski, Glenn Abbott, Rebecca Gonzalez, Diana Agriano, Christopher Glass, and Elena Rodriguez. Under leaves, Kevin Walsh, Michael Cicerelli, and Jennifer Swanson. Under employment, Alicia Sink, Paloma Salcino, Marvin Shade, Noel Rogers, Rochelle Thurman, Melissa Piov, and Paul Melodona. And under employment position, a pupil personnel staff member at Philprep. Board Personnel Committee met on November 9th. They reviewed the bidding certification and support staff items on the agenda. These are now being recommended to the full board for approval.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Canning, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? No discussion.
Mr. Canning?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones? Aye. Mrs. Gleason? Aye. Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Camworth? Aye. Mrs. Ressler? Aye. Ms. Jones?
Aye. At this time, I'm looking for a motion to move to closed session to consider information regarding the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline.
Mrs. Gleason?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones? Aye. Mr. Canning?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Camworth? Aye. Mrs. Ressler?
Yeah.
Ms. Jones?
Aye. Our announcements are as follows. Personnel will meet Monday, 12/7, 6:30 at the Ed Center. Finance, also 12/7, 7 p.m. at the Ed Center. Teaching and learning will meet the 8th, 7 p.m. at the Ed Center. The next boarding will be the 15th at Oak Forest High School. Can I motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.